Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we are diving into a massive geopolitical shakeup breaking out of the Middle East, one that could signal a major turning point on the global stage. For the first time in 5 months, the United States, Russia, and Ukraine have sat down for direct, tripartite negotiations. And this time, they're walking away with concrete results. Interestingly, this didn't happen in Europe, and it didn't happen in Turkey like previous rounds. These talks were hosted in Abu Dhabi, in the UAE. On February 5th, U.S. Peace Envoy Steve Witkoff took to X to officially confirm a major development. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to a prisoner of war exchange involving 314 troops, but in today's video, we aren't just going to look at that number. We are going to read between the lines. We'll unpack the subtle messaging from Washington, Moscow, and Kyiv to figure out what was really agreed upon behind closed doors regarding territory, ceasefires, and perhaps most shockingly, economic ties. If you appreciate deep dives like this, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. Let's start by looking closer at that number. 314. If you read Envoy Witkoff's statement carefully, there's a bit of strategic ambiguity. He never explicitly stated whether this upcoming exchange means 157 prisoners from each side, totaling 314, or if it's 314 troops being released by each side. In diplomatic circles, this kind of vagueness is rarely an accident. It usually means that the final vetting of lists is still underway, or that neither side wants the media to turn this into a scoreboard. But the exact math isn't the primary takeaway here for Washington. The real victory is breaking the gridlock. Remember, this is the first successful POW exchange in 5 months. According to Witkoff, all parties are set to continue discussions in the coming weeks. We also have to give credit where credit is due. The UAE. They maintain working relationships with Washington, Moscow, and Kyiv. Right now, Abu Dhabi is proving to be the perfect neutral ground. All right. Now let's pivot to Moscow to see how they are spinning this. And honestly, this is where the story gets explosive. On February 5th, Russian presidential envoy Kirill Dmitriev spoke with the TASS news agency. He confirmed that the Abu Dhabi talks had, quote, achieved some progress, but pay very close attention to the agenda Dmitriev laid out. These talks were not just about prisoners of war. According to the Russian envoy, the agenda included, quote, economic issues, territorial issues, and ceasefire mechanisms. Yes, you heard that right. Territory and ceasefires were officially on the table, but the real bombshell was what Dmitriev said next. He stated that the work to restore economic cooperation between Russia and the United States is continuing in a constructive manner. This is a massive shift in tone. Is it possible that under the umbrella of brokering peace for Ukraine, the U.S. and Russia are quietly trying to untangle the global energy and economic knot? So, if the U.S. is celebrating a diplomatic win, and Russia is openly teasing major economic progress, where does Ukraine stand? Well, Kyiv's response has been the exact opposite. They are choosing calculated silence. Ukraine's chief negotiator, Rustem Umerov, has yet to make any official comments regarding the final outcomes of the summit. This radio silence likely stems from immense domestic pressure back home. Any concession regarding territorial issues is a political third rail in Ukraine. That being said, we shouldn't assume the Ukrainian delegation walked away unhappy. Just before the meeting concluded, Umerov posted that the discussions were conducted in a substantive and effective manner. This tells us that Kyiv acknowledges the seriousness of these talks, but there is a massive gap between having substantive talks and actually signing a ceasefire. Ukraine's leadership has to weigh every single word they release to the public right now. To truly grasp the gravity of this deal, we need to rewind and look at the broader context of 2025. After more than 3 years of zero direct dialogue, 2025 was the year the ice finally started to break. Russia and Ukraine relied on Turkey to host 3 separate rounds of negotiations. Now, none of those rounds produced a ceasefire. But during the 3rd round in July 2025, the world witnessed an unprecedented humanitarian exchange, a historic deal to swap 1,200 prisoners of war. Compared to the 1,200 exchanged last summer, the number 314 might seem a bit modest, but here is the critical difference. This time, the United States is sitting at the table as a direct participant. The scope of the conversation has officially expanded beyond prisoner swaps and into the heavily guarded territory of global economics and shifting borders. So, what's the bottom line here? The Russia-Ukraine conflict remains one of the most complex geopolitical crises of our time. This agreement in Abu Dhabi is not the end of the war, but it is an incredibly vital stepping stone. The fact that all 3 nations are engaged shows they might be experiencing war fatigue, looking at the end game through a more pragmatic lens. The next few weeks are going to be absolutely critical. Will we see a localized ceasefire announced? How exactly will the U.S. and Russia navigate these new economic talks? We will be tracking this story closely as it develops. What do you make of this Abu Dhabi summit? Do you think this 314 prisoner exchange is the foundation for a massive peace treaty later this year? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you found this deep dive helpful, please hit that like button, share this video, and make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell turned on. I'm your host. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.